You hear me?
Hey, I can hear you now.
How you doing?
Good, good. I can't see you yet, though. You gotta connect your video. Hey, there you are.
There we are.
Good to see ya.
Yeah, haven't talked to you in a long time.
So I got Bob Sawicki here on the EricSwanRacing.com podcast. I forget which number this is, maybe 36, 37. It's getting
Something
up
like
there
that.
already. So thank you for coming on, talking to me for a while. We first met at Grattan Raceway back in 2010.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was I think it was the race that I blew my bike up at in practice. I didn't even race.
I think it was 2011.
I think so.
2011, and you were the first person I ever pit next to, and so I just wanted to talk to everybody revolving in the motorcycle community, from the pro racer to the guy I pit next to the guy who knows nothing about it. So just get their
Yeah,
perspective and see how you're doing.
that's cool. Yeah, I think I was actually at the race that you crashed your brains out at too.
Yeah, at 2015 at the same racetrack.
Yep. That was a rough crash. I remember. Yeah, that was bad.
So what do you remember from that? Because I don't remember a ton.
I bet you don't. So you were in the expert, and I was in novice, and I think we were actually in the same group or same race.
Is there a group, gridded experts and then novice in the same race
Yeah,
usually?
right. No, because unfortunately, the North Central area doesn't get very big grids. So, yeah, I remember going in. Was it turn 5 the one that you ate it on? Wasn't it turn 5?
Maybe one of the times, but my nastiest one was coming up to the pit wall at Grattan. I hit that wall there.
Oh, geez.
Coming up 12, you're going clockwise. You come up the hill. Was that 12A, 12B? I crashed and I high-sided when you hit that dip. I went a little too hard on the gas and just lost the rear and went right into the guardrail. But
that's funny. The very, very first time I raced, the first race of the day, a guy crashed right there. His bike slid all the way up to the wall.
oh man,
I was
it
going,
doesn't happen that often, but it does happen.
Yeah, I was going like, what the heck am I doing here?
Yeah, you gotta be careful. So you got some dirt bikes behind you. Tell me about those.
That's my shop. I have my 2018 RMZ 450, and then I'm building a 94 CR 125. I'm gonna try racing a little bit of vintage this next year. So
Nice.
those are the ones you can see. The other ones you can't see.
I see you got some up in the ceiling there too.
Oh yeah, my 1975 RD 200 up on the wall, and I got my BMX bikes back on the back wall. So.
Oh, very good. So a little bit of everything two wheels.
Yes, exactly. Two-wheel passion.
Is it any four-wheel sneak in there?
I got my mini truck. I have a little 1990 S10 Blazer that I like to play around with.
Yeah, do some mods to that.
Yes. Yeah.
I see you. You like to lower it, get in that scene, the lower truck scene.
See, there's a funny story to that. I broke my wrist. Me and my buddy Joe Kremko, you interviewed a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
A couple other guys went down to Georgia to ride, and it's almost 2 years ago to the day. We went down to Georgia to ride for a couple of days, and Joe's a lot quicker than I'm not going to try to BS you. I'm not very fast anymore, unfortunately, but Joe's pretty good. So what we would do was I'd get in front of him and try to hold him up. So if you know how to pass, you can pass. So
right.
I got in front of him. Actually, I started a straightaway ahead of him. I said, okay, you get up to me, you pass me. I'll try to hold you off. Well, he got in front of me, and Georgia has red clay. Northern Michigan is sand. So it was a little bit wet, and he squirted out in front of me and took me out, and I hit the ground and broke my wrist.
Oh, no.
So that was when I got back to town, and my wife goes, okay, you're done racing. Well, anytime you break, and anytime you break a bone now, it takes forever, seems like, to get in and get it addressed with the proper. Well, I'll just say it took like 2 weeks to get in to see the doctor, and then it took a month to get this and that, and it was over a month before they found out what was wrong with my wrist. So my summer was shot. So instead of racing, I bought this truck and was thinking around with that. And it is, you got to kind of keep your mind occupied so you're not dwelling on things you can't do.
Oh yeah, man. There's so many times in the racing or the sports world. I played hockey and soccer before. You get injured in those too, but not as bad usually. And it's like, yeah, you can't work on the one thing you care about most, your fitness or getting better on the bike and riding more. You can't do that. So it's like you get into this little mental depression if you don't have something else, some other hobbies. Like one time I broke my arm and I loved playing guitar and I couldn't play the guitar anymore. And, I was getting good at it, and you have to do something different. You have to be able to switch and now say, I'm going to be really good at reading for a while because I can't do much else but just sit here and read, I guess.
I hate getting hurt. I'm done with it, and it's probably why I don't push myself too hard anymore. In fact, I haven't raced. I haven't raced motocross in 2 years, and the last time I road raced was the race that you got hurt. So what was that 2015, 2016 or something
15,
like that?
yeah. May 15.
So that's funny because the following weekend after you got hurt, I went and raced motocross, and I got hurt really bad, and I was out for the rest of that summer.
Yeah. So you were laid up just like I was at the same time.
Yep. It's and it was the bad thing was I was really in shape that year. I worked out all winter. I was ready to race, and I crashed. It was a dumb crash. I ended up messing up my pelvis, messed my back up, tore the labrum in my shoulder.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
So I was out that whole summer, and and back injury is no joke, man. That stuff will make you crazy. And I kind of understand how people would get addicted to painkillers because that pain you just can't get away from.
Right. I mean, it's in everything you do. Your back is just a fundamental part of your body, obviously. So it's tough when anything like that is affected.
I've listened to like pros talk about injuries that have ended their careers, and I remember listening to Jeff Emick, Supercross professional. He was talking on one of these podcasts, and he got his last big injury. He was laying there. He thought he was paralyzed. He says he could feel his racing spirit leave his body. And that last crash that I had, I can still feel that pain. That was the worst pain I ever had. I literally laid there, and I couldn't feel my legs, and I was kind of freaking out. Luckily, I just kept on. Okay, move your feet, move your toes. But yeah, that was. So I don't think I ever really mentally recovered from that.
See, so I guess I was in a little different situation. I was kind of up and coming. But was back, 5 years ago, younger. And I had just gotten my pro license. So I think some of that is like, okay, now I just got my pro license. I got to go show myself even more than I had been doing before, right? So it's like I got this thing in my head. And I was on a new bike. And there was a brand new tire compound released that weekend. So there's a lot of factors, right? But those are my excuses, right? But so even right after the accident, I wasn't like, I don't want to do this anymore. That was never my thought. In fact, I kept saying, I do not want to tiptoe through life to arrive safely at death. I don't want to be just sitting on the couch doing nothing. I want to get back out there. Really, honestly, what stopped me from doing that, like so many other people, is money. I smashed a brand new bike that I just bought. There's a pro level race bike, 0 miles, ready to go, off the showroom floor type of thing, built, ready to go, and into a wall. So it didn't really get the money's worth out of it. I had about a weekend and a half a track day on it. But I got down to the same exact lap time within 1/100th of a second from all the years on the Kawasaki. So it was a much better bike.
Yep.
And I was fast on it. It just wasn't as consistent, I guess. And it bit me. But 3 months after that, I did a Tough Mudder. I think I did my fourth Tough Mudder, or third at the time. So within 3 months of breaking 7 bones and concussion and dislocated shoulder and speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, I was ready to go back into it. I couldn't find enough money to make it happen.
It's expensive, man. I miss it. And you know what they say? It's expensive because it's worth it.
Yeah. and I'm still trying. Like I'm still just trying to build my business to sell enough so that I can eventually first quit my job, and second, then race full time. That's my life goal, is those two things: just work for myself and race. If I could
Well,
do
you're doing
those two
right.
things, I what else is there? I mean, a family and friends and all that too. But
You're
that's
doing it right.
that's what I want.
One of my friends' wives used to say, "We don't finance fun." So, and racing's expensive, and that was I could see how it could get very easy to go down the route of putting it on debit cards or credit cards. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And we never did that, thank God. I mean, I would save my pennies all winter long just so I could race 2 or 3 races a year,
Yeah.
But
I'll plug something that I use all the time. I use Acorns as a saving tool. So it's just like an app on my phone, and you can invest a certain amount of money, however much you want. And so I have it set to roundup. So every time I make a purchase of anything on my credit or debit cards, it will automatically invest a certain amount of money. It will take the roundup. So if it's 50 cents, it'll take 50 cents. And then you can have a multiplier, and I set it to 10. So it'd be $5 for a purchase that ends in 50 cents, right? And so it adds up pretty quick doing that. And that's one of the ways I save. But yeah, I never used debit, or I never overmaxed my credit cards. In fact, I was much of a cash guy because you see so many people going down that hole, and I just saw something scrolling through Facebook. I don't know how it happened, but I'm $1 million in debt kind of story. Like how does that happen? Like, I didn't know I was $1 million or approaching this. Like, come on.
how can you be that not self-aware?
Yeah. Like, I'm always like, I try to do my net worth, like do an Excel spreadsheet every month or two of where you're at. Are you improving? Are you declining? For myself, my business? Like, you need to know. And a lot of people don't do that stuff.
That was my wife always kind of got on my case because I would never have any money because I would always save my money.
Yeah.
But I enjoy that goal setting, that reaching that goal, And I don't know if that's very popular with the younger generation now, but
yeah, man. I love I guess goal setting or dream boarding, whatever you want to call it, just putting that stuff out there. I'm not all woo woo about it, but I do think it helps because, like, I would have never gotten into racing if I didn't really want to do it.
Right.
It's not going to fall into your lap. Things
You're
like
right.
that don't happen on their own. You really got to push for them. So I'm a firm believer in, you have to make it in your mind first, like write it down, put it on your wall on a big, like, not a note card, but a 2x3 piece of paper, 2x3 feet, and just write all your goals on it and look at it every day right before you leave for work, that kind of thing. That's
Or
what
when
I
you're
do.
working out.
Yeah, and
Right.
I just had to
I just
take
think
mine
you're-
down because the last one that I had, it was from like 8/19/2019. And so a lot of things on there weren't relevant anymore. Like, some of the things for my business, I don't want anymore. Like, I don't think there's a reason for me in this business that I'm doing right now to ever need a physical facility. I'm doing an online business, and I'm actually getting away from some of the physical products that I sell here at my location. So there could come a time where I don't have any shelving or any physical inventory here. And so why would you need a location for that? And one of my goals was to get a storefront location. So, I'm dropping things as I go and not staying perfectly to it, but this is my main goal.
Updating.
Right.
Update.
I have to update it now with the new stuff and the new sales goals, because I hit my last sales goal. So it's like, what's the new one? You can't stop there.
I think I seen a couple of years, maybe it was a couple years ago or maybe last year. You had because every once in a while you used to put some of your products up on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah.
And you had a guitar or something on there.
Yep.
And I don't think you have very much of a quantity of them or something like that. Because I went to check it out because I was going to buy it and it was gone already.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I have what I started with doing, for people who don't know, is I started with my business selling DVDs, CDs, all the old stuff that I had personally. And I would take pictures of it, list it online, and I started doing my friends and family members on consignment, selling their stuff too, valuable items, snowboards, guitars, musical instruments, whatever. Some of those were my cousins actually, and some of them were mine and my brothers. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And doing consignment is a way for anybody to sell products without spending $1 on inventory. And that's a beautiful model. Like, you don't always have control over what you're getting, which is kind of frustrating sometimes. And for me, it was like I have to cut it at a certain dollar amount now. Before I'll just take anything as long as it's not trash or broken, I'll take it, And now it has to be at least over $100 and expensive. Like, it has to be worth my time, because at a certain point, these books and CDs aren't cutting it, right? You have to stop that and move on to the next thing. So I'm now selling a lot of exhausts, a lot of like suspension tools and suspension parts. We're just about to get into some car parts. So Fortune Auto, BC Racing, Silver Suspension, some pretty big names. I just went on Fortune Auto's website today, and they have some sort of track record with the suspension. I'm like, this is legit. Like, this is awesome stuff. This is like the Brembo of motorsport and for cars kind of thing.
Cool. So I got to ask you, I don't know if this is probably the proper time to ask, but my buddy's putting on a car show here this August. Would you be interested in throwing some stickers at us to put in the goodie bags for all the entrants?
Absolutely. Yeah, I have I do have a little bit of swag. You could say I have some stickers in small, medium, large. I have shirts, t-shirts, and polos. And I don't have them for sale, but I have some of these
Nice.
the mouse pads. So, but actually everything's backwards right now. This isn't the right way, right?
That looks fine to me.
Well, can you read it?
Yeah.
Okay, because on my side it looks backwards. It looks I just had to switch computers right before this. My main computer decided just to freeze up on me, so this is my backup. So I hope it turns out all right.
Great. Well, that's cool. I'm actually I don't know if it's impressed, but I guess I am impressed at how much you have moved in on this business venture of yours. It's pretty cool to watch it grow.
Yeah, man. I just started with tires. I still got a few for sale, but I started with all these tires, and I bought 4 tire racks, and I just started selling my old tires and buying takeoff tires of other people and selling those. And I'm so hungry, man. I just want to race so badly, and there's not a whole lot of jobs that I could have that are going to pay for it.
It's pretty spendy, that's for sure. But
so it's just you're
doing it right. You're getting all the financials out of the way first, and that's what more could you ask for? To be able to get all the business end out of the way, and then do what you need to do.
Hey, it's not all butterflies. Yeah, I'm just looking at the bank accounts and like, oh no. But it's the ups and downs. That's how it goes, and you just you only fail when you run out of money. So build a moat. Just do everything you can. Eat some peanut butter and jelly. Save some money. Don't be stupid and go out every night. Well, you can't now for the last year and a half or whatever. Happy 10 months of 2 weeks to slow the curve.
Yeah. Yeah. So with that, you think that with all the pandemic crap going on, that probably changed when you said you don't need a storefront. That probably brought it into light that you don't need a storefront. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean it's more relevant now for sure. But also like the model that I'm trying to go towards is more of I don't need to be on a major thoroughfare, a major road or anything with a lot of traffic, because it's all online. It doesn't matter where I am. So that's kind of, some of the businesses some of the vendors I'm trying to go after as far as selling their products. Some of them don't like it that I don't have a storefront, because like there's certain helmet companies that denied me from being a vendor or dealer because of I don't have a storefront and they require it, or some vendors require you to purchase $10,000 a year
Right.
of product. And I'm sorry, I'm not spending a single dollar on inventory until I sell it, which is drop shipping. So that's another way I don't pay a single dollar for inventory. So I can't afford, like, I can't compete with these businesses that have $1 million in inventory and 12 employees because I don't have any money, but I can compete with them because I do this model and I'm selling the same products. It's just certain companies.
With zero overhead. It's a smart venture, man.
And so some of the people who have denied me say, yeah, but that's unfair to the brick and mortar companies. I said, well, welcome to 2020. Like, you can't just say that's unfair. Like, I have a better model than them and I spend way less on overhead. So I'm going to be in the game longer and they're going to probably go bankrupt before I do.
Right. Not trying to pay the interest on their stock. Yeah.
So it's kind of a unique situation where I have to accept being denied from a lot of people in this growth period. I only started with selling my old bullshit and CDs and tennis shoes because you have to have at least some sort of reputation.
Right.
I just looked on eBay today and I have 880 positive reviews on eBay, which is like, that's great, but if you have zero, Revit or Dynaze is not going to approve you as a vendor.
Yeah. So is that where you sell majority of your product is on eBay?
Yeah. So eBay is definitely the biggest sales for me. Amazon is second. I do sell on Etsy because I have old vintage records for sale and cassette tapes and VHS tapes and vintage books and all those kind of things. And then my website, unfortunately, shopesr.com is probably the lowest just because eBay and Amazon have millions and millions of customers every month. And nobody's heard about shopesr.com or ericswanracing.com.
So yeah, Amazon and eBay have the most foot traffic.
For sure, yeah. And so I'm just barely starting to pay for advertising, and I'm doing this as the whole point of me doing these podcasts is to advertise for my websites. And to network with people and to talk with interesting, people and all that stuff. So it's and public speaking, trying to talk without any script or bullet points today.
Right.
It's a challenge.
That's cool. Yeah, I've listened to just about all of your episodes.
Well, I appreciate that, man. It's good to have some feedback on it too.
It's cool to, like, when you talk to Carl and Dave Gray and all. I know those guys, know who they are.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat hearing a little bit of their backstory.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to give everybody that backstory, show the characters that already exist because I think it's so cool. And there's not a whole lot of people giving the little guys a chance or a spotlight of an hour or two.
Right. I was pretty stoked to see you did Joe Kremko. That guy, he's a good friend of mine.
That's good.
He's actually I met him and then he started dating my daughter.
Oh yeah.
So he's young enough to be my kid. So and we did a lot of racing together. That year that he got me. I've always been in it, but he got me back into wanting to race and ride and have fun again.
Yeah.
And, one of the things I taught him was, and I think he was a little burnt out on the routine of training and motocross and practice. That, like, man, just go and have fun. I go, I love riding my bike. Just ride your bike and have fun.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about living in the USA. We have time to go ride bikes and have fun. So then a road trip. So we got some great stories about going down to Ohio and stuff like that. It's just he's a good guy. I'm happy for him that he's living in the Carolinas, racing all year long. But I'm sad because he was my buddy.
Yeah, he moved away.
He was my my motivation to get out there and do stuff to hurt myself.
Yeah, Joe and I got this working relationship now that I'm kind of sponsoring him in some sort of way, as far as like if he needs products, I give him some discounts on the things that I sell that I can help him out.
Nice.
And so he slaps some stickers on his bike for me and wear a t-shirt that'll help out me as well.
Yeah, he's a good kid.
So
yeah, he lives, eats, and breathes motocross. He's a good dude.
He's been finishing pretty well. He's in the 450 Pro and Pro-Am stuff now.
Yep. Yeah, here's a funny story for you. The first time I took him to the races with me, this had to be 2014-ish, right on there. We went down to race, and I took my family and Joe along, and I go, "You got food?" He goes, "Yep, got food." And we show up at the track, and I go, "What do you got?" He goes, he came to the races with donuts and Powerade. That was it.
Perfect. You got your sugar and you got your electrolytes, right?
So yeah, things have changed. He's changed his program quite a bit from them days.
But man, I still feel like that sometimes. I just did a hot yoga session, an hour in a 100 and whatever degree room, when you're drenched in sweat, when you didn't even move off your mat for the whole hour. And right after, I'm like, I want to get a donut. Like, that's the first thought I had. I mean, I didn't. I got Mission Barbecue. It's a new barbecue restaurant. That's a chain that's opening up here. It's delicious. But yeah, that's always my thought too. I have some gummy bears just for a little bit of sugar here and there, but I'm pretty strict with my diet. I really, I do have some beers here and there, indulge, but it's freaking Friday night. I got the weekend off. I'm going up north this weekend, up to Sheboygan area, the tip of your finger. Yeah, you're up there?
Yeah, you're about 40 minutes like northeast of me.
So it's my cousin Tony's land. They got a whole bunch of their friends to buy plots of land all next to each other. There's no electricity, no running water, no nothing. Just a spot in the woods and a cabin you can make yourself out of whatever's there, type of thing. And
so if you ever get a dirt bike, there's trails all over.
Oh yeah, I've actually, the first time I ever rode a dirt bike, and pretty much the only time, was up there in the ORV trails on one of his bikes. It was like an IT 175 or something. It was a 1970s or 80s Yamaha. And
blue.
Blue, yep. It was a hell of a lot of fun, and I hope to ride up there also this weekend. We'll see what he's gonna bring, because I don't have any more motorcycles. I sold all my sport bikes, and I've never owned a dirt bike. So I already loaded my mountain bike in the truck. I'll bring my full face in case I get to ride his bike, and just go up there. Just do a bunch of nothing. Maybe shoot some guns, drink some beers. Yee.
Trail ride's a good time. I used to put on like a ride every year, and the last one I had 27 bikes.
Oh wow!
And I didn't ride. This is actually the year that I was hurt, and it was more work, because I cooked hot dogs and stuff like that. And,
yeah.
It was more work trying to make sure everybody didn't get lost.
You're the event organizer.
So, yeah, me and my wife, my kids. I give my wife a ton of credit because she helped out, and she took a lot of the brunt of my stress, unfortunately. But that's so cool. Yeah, it's fun. It's two wheels, man. You know how it is. It's a good time.
Yeah. The next bike I think I'm gonna buy is maybe a 110 or a 140 Kawasaki type of thing. Get a little dirt bike. I totally intend to get back into the racing scene, but I think I might buy a couple houses in between to help me generate some cash flow as far as maybe renting out rooms. So I think I'm going to put off racing and the track for another couple of years until I can get some serious money behind me, and then go into it head first. Nice.
I bought a 2008 GSXR 600. I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago, and it was stone stock street bike. It only had 5,000 miles on it, and it was beat up. The guy who had it before me left it outside underneath a tarp all winter.
Oh yeah.
So it was a little weathered,
right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I always wanted to build one from scratch. So it was a venture that I don't hope I never have to do again. But I still have
down to the frame.
Yep. And then all the wiring bullshit you got to eliminate and figure out what needs to be jumpered so you don't have blinking red lights and stupid shit like that. It was fun. It was a learning experience. If I would buy another race bike, it'll be done. I ain't going through that crap again.
Yeah.
But I think I've done like 4 track days with it. It's just, the year that I took off, when I went back, and my daughter and I started racing BMX again. I used to race BMX back in my teens, and because I didn't have my road race bike, so started doing that, and it's cheap, and I wanted my daughter to learn how to set goals. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how it is. You practice, you get results. You work on your just goal setting. So we did that for a year, and she broke her ankle she sprained her ankle in August.
Oh.
So she raced a couple times after that, but she didn't race. She's too afraid to get hurt after that.
You know,
but
yeah.
Racing with your kids is pretty fun.
I think it's so important. I don't have kids, but I think it's so important for kids to be in sports. Like, I don't care what sport it is, but it should be challenging. It should be, you know, something that you can't master in a day and a half. You know, it has to be something, hopefully you don't get injured, but even injury teaches you a lot. It's taught me a lot. And I've dated some women who have had no experience with any sort of sports environments. And I feel like they're not as strong of people. Like they can't get through obstacles as easily. They're not as confident. And it's frustrating. Like, they'll hit this obstacle, like, oh, I can't do it. I'm done. I'm like, well, you could have tried it like 12 different other ways to get that done. And you just gave up. Like, I feel like it's very helpful foundation.
Correct. One of the things I've noticed, because my daughter was a senior when we started racing, and I'm a guy, and of course, and both my girls were in high school, and I've noticed that high school was not very fun for me. All I wanted to do was get summertime so I could race pedal bikes. So that's what I did in high school, was just race. You know, that's my focus. So I got to maybe see things through their eyes a little different. And being a girl in high school, girls are mean. So, and I figured, you know, I made so many friends racing throughout my whole life, and my racing friends I still have those friends. Racing friends last you the whole life. So one of my main goals was to hopefully get her to find one of those racing friends. She did, and I think she realizes that, you know, I hope she doesn't forget how much fun we had that summer. You know, I wish I would have started with her earlier. You know, it's maybe one of the regrets. I don't have very many regrets in my life, and that was one regret that I wish I would have started earlier with them. But
well, it sounds like you started fairly early, or maybe earlier than I started. I started when I was 20, so you know, I never got into it when I was younger. I know I had sport bike when I was 16 that I bought myself with cash. But so you started when you were younger. Tell me about your history. I don't know so much about that, your backstory and how you got started.
I'm a little bit older. I'm 52. So I've been around motorcycles basically my whole life. I remember my older brother, who was 10 years older than me. I remember going to a race with my family and him when I was 3 or 4. So, I mean, I've been around racing my whole life. So he raced
memories,
motocross. Yeah, he raced motocross. My older brother raced drags, like grass drags for snowmobiles and stuff. So, I mean, it's all. My whole life's ingrained around that kind of stuff. So, I started racing pedal bikes when I was 12. So I raced BMX until I was 18 or 19. Then I started racing motocross.
Okay.
So you got to figure out I was 18 or 19, and my brother's raced motocross his whole life. And he's like Joe Kremko. I mean, everything is about motocross, man.
Hard to compete.
Yeah. So I raced motocross until I think it was like about 25 years. And then I gave it up because of my career I picked. I don't have a lot of time to practice.
Yeah.
For the way I think is, if I don't get enough practicing, I'm not prepared for the race. So a lot of times I go to the track, and mentally I wasn't prepared because I didn't get that practicing. So so I quit racing, I think around 2006, and it was like trail riding, just be a, not really a whole lot of direction. And then 2008, I bought a R6 right off showroom floor. It was a nice bike, and I did two track days with that bike. First track day I did in 2009, I think. And I remember I drove down by myself. It was at Grattan, and I parked next to Bart Breja or Breja or what?
Breccia?
You know who that Bart is? Or
Yeah, I think so. Pretty sure I raced with him. He had a red bike.
yep, like design engine. I think he runs that design.
Yeah. Oh,
engine.
yeah. I know him for sure.
So I parked next to him, and he he showed up late, and he's zip tying his bike together. It was just a pile of shit. And Bart looked like he just woke up, which I probably did. Yeah. And I learned so much from him that day, just watching him, and just making small talk with him. And I remember looking at my sweet ass street R6 and looking at his ratty ass R6, where the hell it was. And he hauled ass, and he was in the advanced class, of course. So I went out. I remember right after lunch, I set up an appointment with Ken Hall, Superbike Suspension.
Yep. He's now the Moto America guy.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. I liked him. He always gave me a hard time on track, but he set my suspension up, and I missed the last session, so I didn't get to test that bike out with new suspension. So any new track day rider, he wants to anytime he go back on the street, he's thinking he's Valentino. Mm-hmm. So I think it was like a month or two later, I went back down there with that bike that was set up, and what a difference! What a difference! Yeah.
It's night and day.
So I went from like the slowest novice group to the fastest novice group, and my coach at the time was Jeffrey Bartlett. Okay. And he says, you should go to the intermediate class next time around. So I bonded with that guy pretty good because he was an old motocross guy. So we kind of knew how to talk to each other. So he said, you should start racing and this and that. And yeah, we'll see. I go, I'm not going to race this bike because it was just too nice. So I ended up buying that winter. I bought a 2002 ZX6, that one that I had when I met you.
Yeah.
And I raced that for 2 years, I think, 2-3 years. And I think I did 2 intermediate track days, which is like suicide mission, So and I started racing, and yeah, it was fun. I live what, 3 hours away from the track. So and like I said, I got family. So getting the money together to go race, I would have to literally save all my money all winter long to get ready, get all the stuff you need, because you need tires. And at the time, I needed a better generator, just everything. So I think I raced for 4 or 5 years, and I blew that ZX6 up, which was devastating. I was like, that's it, man, I'm done. So I ended up selling my van, and I bought 2003 R6.
Well, you had that box truck for a while.
I had that little Astro, and that's the Astro I sold. And then I bought that full size Ford van.
Okay, I was thinking about the hauler that you guys kept the bikes in.
No, never had one of those.
Okay.
I was very, very low budget, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I bought that 2003 R6, and what a difference going from that big old tank ZX6 to that thing. It's like, I'm getting somewhere. So I think I raced 2 years in that 2015 year. That's the year that I was literally mentally and physically prepared. The first race weekend, I signed up for a pro school. So I never really had any one-on-one. I was trying to learn it by myself, And it's kind of hard when you do 2-3 track days a year and then race, 3 times. So I did it with Aaron Hardman.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. he helped the whole morning. We were trying to get my bike set up, just getting the suspension set up, getting a good feel and everything. And it was great by the afternoon, and he showed me some stuff. And the next day we did, what was it, the mini endurance or whatever it is, a 25 lapper.
20 laps,
I enjoyed
solo
those
20.
Yeah, I enjoyed those more than sprint races, because like 3 laps in, that's when I'm just starting to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So by the time I get my head on straight, then the race is over. So that solo I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, I like the longer ones. I like the long races. I like endurance races. I've never done a motorcycle endurance race, but I definitely want to, and do it in cars. And I follow the WEC for FIM and FIA. I love that stuff. It's the strategy or strategery, however you want to say it. It's the racecraft of sometimes every Formula One race is like a endurance race.
Right.
It's 2 hours, or IMSA's 2-hour races minimum. So
the mental strength those guys gotta have,
Yeah, I love it. It's very challenging. That's why, and so it's like people don't understand who don't come from racing. Imagine playing your best game of hockey ever, or some stick and ball sport, and then something goes wrong, and then it's a catastrophic failure, but you were winning from the whole time. I guess that could happen. But
Yeah.
like in racing, you make one mistake and you go wide in one corner, your race is ruined. Like for the entire, it might be, if it's a 12-hour Suzuka race or something, you might have a chance. But any other race, it's so cutthroat and everybody's so close that there's no margin for error. You basically have to be perfect.
Yeah, that was my problem, because I was not that good.
You just weren't perfect every single turn.
No, I was good a couple corners. That was about it. No, I was. That was that race. That last race that I did, I felt that was my stepping stone to go to the next level. Because I never podiumed or never got any kind of awards for racing. And at the time, I didn't care. I just wanted to be there and doing it. And the feeling of every time you go out there, you feel like you're doing better. You're stepping it up.
Oh yeah. It's amazing. It's a endless journey of searching for speed, right? There's always somebody faster. There's always a little bit more time, and it's so what's the right word? Exhilarating and obsessive for me.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I love it, and it makes me just want to be better all the time. I'm working on my simulator upstairs, my racing simulator. I just got a new one in the mail because the last one broke. But this one, I think it's stronger than the last one, or I got weaker, because it's nuts, man. I should start my fitness watch as an activity before I do that thing, because it gets my heart rate up, and I'm sweating. I'm taking off hoodies and t-shirts. I'm about to take off my main layer shirt, and it's tough, but I love it. The one thing that sucks about that is I bought the cheapest possible base, so like the seat and the mount that your wheel goes to and the pedals. So unfortunately, you can do this back and forth on my steering wheel, and the thing just like goes, it flaps back and forth because it's pretty heavy. It's like 20-30 pounds. The wheel, you're not actually turning that, but the base that it sits on is really sturdy, because it has to give you all that force feedback to when you're feeling like you're in the turns. Like you can't be lollygagging just sitting there with one hand. I can't turn the wheel with one hand.
I would love to try that.
Like it's very, very difficult, and I love it.
That's
I'm actually slower in the wheel now than I was in the controller, because it's so much more effort. But I just gotta get stronger.
More seat time.
More seat time, yeah, for sure. And it gives you that feel, because there's so much feedback. Like you'll watch me from behind or something. My hands are doing this. They're shaking through the corner, because you're just.
That sounds like good time.
Because you can feel the curbing and everything, and it's very very immersive. The next step for that is to maybe get a new base so it doesn't wobble back and forth. And
so is that base with the seat and everything? Is that legit, just like you're sitting in a car, or is it like more?
It's actually they have so many different models. I was just like, I bought one of the best possible units with the hardware in it, but I bought the cheapest base because I wanted to scrimp on that part. Yeah, it's It's pretty darn good, man. You can also they have other people who have 3 monitors, so you can see actually the sides of you and maybe a car to your side instead of just what's in front of you. But that's, I'm not
Cool.
trying to spend thousands of dollars here.
Right. It's cool, but it still ain't as cool as the real thing.
Yeah, it's way cheaper though. That's how I get my my thrills right now, is just the virtual world. I just bought this Formula One video game. I haven't opened it yet. I haven't played it yet. I'm still working on the Gran Turismo because I basically mastered it. I've been
So
playing
you're
it
saying
for
last
so
one
long.
you beat what's his name's record?
Yeah, the Lewis Hamilton time trials. I beat all of the gold time trial. There's silver, bronze, silver, gold. I beat those, but not his time. His time is another like second and a half ahead. It's like,
Huh.
I don't think I can actually do that, to be honest.
Where does he get that? I was talking to a guy I work with today. I was talking about because he actually went and trail riding yesterday with a guy that's a pro air scramble rider or whatever, and he goes, he's just so fast. I go, I wonder what their focus is, what they're looking at to make him so fast.
They're definitely focusing on something different than we are, for sure. It's and I talked about it with I think Jack Roach or Joseph Lemandry. He said he gets off of the brakes before the corner even starts. He's getting back on the gas well before the apex, and some of that's the bike he's riding. But even you look at Marquez, I think a lot of people overshoot or overbrake too much. They're trying to, let me late brake, but let me get off the brakes as soon as possible so I can get on the gas as soon as possible. It's a different mentality. But yeah, I mean, a lot of those games, since I'm a pro athlete, basically, it's expired now, but it counts. I can normally go on those time trials, not the Lewis Hamilton one, but the normal time trials on those games and beat it in like the first or second lap. No problem. With the Lewis Hamilton time trial, it took me like a couple hours to get the gold. And that's like restart. You're just doing one lap, 2 miles or so, maybe 4. And you're doing it for hours, just trying to get every little tiny bit of time. So it's I don't know how
long did it take you to learn the tracks?
I mean, I can learn a track fairly easily. I know most of them now. There's not a whole lot of tracks I don't know. There's some like on the Formula One circuit I think I'd have to learn, or I haven't driven before, but I've seen them. When you see them, I think it really helps because I get a good visual for what's coming up, and you start to learn the layouts of the maps. That's an integral part, is learning all the tracks. That takes a while.
That's cool.
So
that is cool.
And I see you got a KTM hat on. Do you own any orange bikes?
Yes, I have. Well, actually, right here.
Oh, there you go.
I bought this bike. It's a 2008 KTM XC250 XCW wide ratio. So I bought this last March, and it's a 2008, which is a couple of models back from what they have now. So, and I always like the way they look, the way the shrouds look and everything. They're kind of tough to find. So I found this one. It was in Traverse City, and I was over that way for work. And I asked my boss, I said, hey, I'm going to go stop over here and check this bike out. If I buy it, it's okay if I bring it back in work truck. There's no problem. So we looked at it, and the guy wanted a lot of money for it. But like I said, they're kind of hard to find. So I go, okay. I made a deal with him. Yeah, he's like, knocked $50 off, whatever. I was going to buy it anyways, but I got it home, and I'm looking at it, and it was just haggard. Just some, so, there's people that like know how things work, and there's people that should never ever touch a tool in their life. Well, this guy, I throw the tools at him. But anyways, I tore it down, and just a bunch of stuff that was messed up on it. I literally went through everything on this bike. There wasn't anything that was not unturned, and it's one of the nicest bikes I've ever had. It just feels so good. I had my buddy CMP do the suspension, and when I took it down to the track this spring, I told myself I wasn't going to ride it until it was completely done. So it was probably June-ish, late May, June, when I finally started riding it. And it runs great. The engine's brand new on it. It runs great. And I had a couple of handling issues with it, but, quick call to Chad at CMP and said, what should I do? It's doing this. And it handles pretty sweet. So I just ordered a new YZ250. It should be in next week. But
nice.
So I used to have like a bunch of 4-strokes. Like my 450 is a 4-stroke, and it's a nice bike. It's pretty sweet, but there's nothing like 2-stroke just because they're light and the power's so cool. They sound great. So
I've never had a 2-stroke. I had, the 250 was carbureted. I'm sorry, it was fuel injected. No, it had the choke on it. It was carbureted. I am not a master mechanic. Turns out you don't have to be a racer, but it really helps to work on your own stuff. Throughout the years, I got better at it, and with a lot of people, yelling at me, "Hey, you got to do this to your bike. What are you doing over there?" It's that's how it goes sometimes. I remember the first time I was trying to change even a tire on my bike, on rear tire. That could be a pain in the ass, right? Getting the sprocket in there with not getting the brake pads with the rotor in the right place. I was riding the struggle bus for like a half hour. Somebody comes over, let me help you out. Let me show you how to do it. And that's how you make friends. That's how I met Steve Palella.
What a great guy. Him and
yeah.
Tad, they're great people.
Yeah. And so that's, I met you 10 years ago, 11 years ago, and now we're still talking. We're still friends. And although I haven't seen you in a decade or so, right, less than that, we've been on the track together since, but,
I think me and you raced that Mid-Ohio race you're talking about, that national. I think we were both on the same grid on that one too.
Yeah, that was a fun one. And it's just great the people you meet and the relationships you form. There's people all over the country that I'm friends with now. And my brother did like marching drum band professionally. He did DCI drum band international, cool. And he's like, I have friends in Japan, and it's so cool to know people from other cultures, and it reduces the stigma and racism, I think, a lot, because I grew up in Dearborn Heights, which is a very Arabic and white and black community. So it's very mixed, and there's people from all over the world. You listen to the podcast with Ed Garcia, he lists all the different nationalities and countries that people are from there. And it makes me, I think, not racist growing up in that kind of community, because it's just normal. I was like, this is just how it is. I don't know anything different. And there's a lot of communities that are predominantly white or predominantly whatever, and they're not exposed to that. So I guess I'm grateful for that exposure.
You're very correct. In fact, where I live is very, I don't know if it's racist, but it's not very cultural. I'll say that, because I don't have an issue with it. I don't understand why people do, because people are people. There's good people and there's bad people. Whatever. And that's subject for another day.
Yeah.
Whatever.
For sure. So, trying to spark some interesting conversation. Do you have any? Not that you haven't already, but do you have any original thoughts that you think other people don't share about life or politics or racing or whatever?
Man, you're opening up a floodgate there, buddy.
We got all the time in the world.
I just, one thing that I wish racing was a little bit different was I wish it wasn't so expensive, especially like track days. I wish track days were half of what they were.
Yeah.
I think that would, I don't know if it would bring more people into race or not, but I tell you what, even if the track days on like the Friday track days before the winter races, if they were half, that might help promote getting racers to race the rest of the weekend. I don't know.
I've thought pretty heavily about getting back into it sooner and getting a 400, because then I'd be out there. I'd be out there. I'd be still doing like 110 miles an hour, but that's not the bike I want to be racing. However, beggars can't be choosers, and you'd be able to do it. And that's, I mean, I would go through way less tires. Usually on the 600, I would do minimum 3 tires a weekend, 4 if it's an important race. Like if it's a national, I'd do for sure 2 fronts, 2 rears for the
Yeah, but
weekend.
you raced what, 20 races a weekend though too.
I would race all A's, or both A's, both B's, both C's, and then sometimes it'd be a double header. So there'd be 6 on Saturday, 6 on Sunday. So there's 12 races right there on a busy weekend. Or it'd be sometimes the 6 races Saturday, or no, you had the solo 20 on Saturday, and then the 6 races on Sunday. So
You know what's gonna scratch your itch is mini racing.
That's kind of what I want to do with buying this 110 or 140 or 100cc maybe is do the minis, because there's a really nice kart track 2 miles from my house that has timing and scoring that Carl goes to, and all, a whole bunch of legit mini riders with 88s and
there was a bunch of guys there last weekend. Did you see the videos from that? I bet there's 20 bikes there.
Yeah, John Hawkins goes there, and it's 2 miles from my house. It's stupid that I don't even just go there to say hi, but
Nick Goodman tried to get me into it about 5 years ago. So you gotta try this. You gotta try this. Come on down. You ride one of my bikes. I'm going, nah, I don't have time.
It kills me that I'm not out there, but if I can't be riding, I don't want to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I hate that, because I would be beating. I think I would. I feel like I would be beating half of the people at least out there, given a half a track day. So, who knows when it actually comes to it, because it's a different surface. I've never been on a mini, but I'm pretty adaptable.
Mini racing, you can go and ride East Lansing kart track for $55, I think, or $60 for the whole day.
That's awesome. Yeah. And some places I've heard they let you rent a bike too, and that's like, I mean, it's more expensive, but then you could actually do it and not have to buy a bike.
Yeah, me and my buddy Craig went down. I think it was three years ago. We went down and we both had XR80s. So I go, let's go do this. It looks like fun.
Yeah.
So I searched the internet for just cheap scooter tires. I found these Shinkos that weighed as much as the bike. They're so heavy. Put them on there, and we went down there and had a riot. The bikes were slow as hell.
Yeah.
So the next year I go, man, I got to upgrade. So I bought an RM 85 or 80. And I built the 12-inch wheels and set it all up, and I rode it for one whole, I think, 3 or 4 track days of 1 year, and then I rode it one last year, and I blew the damn thing up. And with my KTM, I just never got the engine rebuilt yet. So, yeah. But yeah, that is the most fun I've had on a bike a lot. And you know what? Is I get in that RM80. And other than the handlebars being higher and wider, my feet are almost the same spot as on my GSXR. So you're laying in the corner, it feels, like Carl said, that's great practice.
Oh yeah, and you can just go in parking lots, set up cones if you don't want to actually go to a sanctioned event, and just practice on your own, or just out in the dirt somewhere if you got the space for it. And you being up north, do you have any place right next to you in your backyard that you can ride other than the ORV trails right there?
My brother's got a motocross track in his backyard, and there's probably 2 or 3 tracks around the area. When Joe was living here, he had one right directly in his backyard.
Oh yeah,
that was pretty sweet. But problem is when you have something like that on your property, you're liable. So
insurance.
My brother's a little worried about having somebody get hurt out there, so he's really particular on who he lets ride.
I see. So it's very private then.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. One of my dreams, I'm sure you heard me talk about it, is to build a racetrack, design, build, and race my own track.
That's like my dream every night. I think, man, I want a lottery. I can buy this, build this.
I mean, you're talking, I haven't even priced it out, but I've heard, so just to repave some of the tracks that are already established is like $2 million. So you're talking, I don't know, Coda was, I have no idea how much Coda was, like 80 million, $100 million maybe?
Jeez.
I'm just guessing, but yeah, it's got to be up there. I mean, that's a world-class facility for Formula One, MotoGP, all the safety standards. There's I mean, that's the kind of track you want to be built, is where you have all these chicanes, and instead of grass or gravel, you have just pavement everywhere. How great is that? Why isn't every track like that?
Right.
I
Right.
wish. But I mean, so you have the old school circuits, which are grass and a little bit dangerous. Then you have the modern circuits, which are pavement everywhere. And some people hate the new stuff because it's too safe, right?
Right.
It's too, now you have to deal with track limit penalties all the time. So you get that, that's a problem too. But I think that's way less of a problem than running into a damn guardrail.
Yeah, because I crashed a couple times, and it doesn't take much to ruin them bikes. It sucks, you know. And it's expensive as hell to replace them parts
Yeah.
or rebuild it. So yeah.
And I would argue that the cost of paving the circuit would pay for itself in savings of one weekend's MotoGP crashes. Like if there was pavement everywhere, that would pay for itself right there, right? Because you'd crash one bike, and those bikes are not cheap.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But
so, how many mountain bike races you got planned for next year?
there's a 10-round series that I've been doing. It's MMBA CPS, Michigan Mountain Bike Association Championship Point Series, all around the state.
You gonna be up here at all?
I had been doing them all except for the COVID 2020 year, because everything was canceled. I haven't decided, honestly, if I'm doing it or not. I think I probably will do at least a couple events. And so this series is a 10-round series, but they only take your top 5 events. So you could only do 5, potentially, but you have a better chance of winning the championship if you do all of them. I have been really focusing on my business lately and kind of slacking on the cycling, to be honest. So I'm getting back into it. I did an Orange Theory fitness class the other day. I did a hot yoga yesterday. Trying to do some more stuff because I feel like I'm lazy lately. But I love it.
I got out of actually when I broke my wrist. I never. That was 2 years ago. I never got back into working out or anything like that. And like literally not watching what I was eating. I mean, it was bad. If you look at some of the pictures from last summer, sitting in the pits, my gut's just like way out there. Man.
Yeah.
So I made the commitment. I go, I got to do something. And the biggest thing, because I don't drink and I don't smoke, but I freaking love food. I love food. Oh man, Pastor Joe, he'll tell you, French fries, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the opposite. I just told my mom actually around the holidays. I said something like, "See, I don't even really want all this cake and ice cream. I just rather have more beer." And she's like, "That's why you'll never be fat, Eric."
Well, yeah, that's rude as you go. No. But yeah, one of the things that, I'm 52. So what are you, 30-ish?
I'm 28.
Oh yeah. So everything still works great on you.
Well, I've broken 12 bones and I've fallen down a lot on a motorcycle. So, I mean, I don't have anything that's like majorly lasting. The worst is just my shoulder, and I've been doing workouts on it and trying to get it better. But I can still knock out 20 push-ups in 10 seconds, or 20 seconds.
That's good. That's good. I think it was one of your last interviews you did with Sean Kingsbury, I think it was. He was talking about age is just a number. He is correct to a point. I'm 52, like I said, and I hit the ground now, I'm going to break a bone, and it sucks.
Yeah.
And that does play with your upstairs modem up there. So I still feel like I'm 16 until I hit the ground. So,
I have it in my head. I don't know how it's going to play out when I get older, and I'm so glad this is recorded for me to watch again when I'm 52 or 102 maybe. But I have it in my head that I want to race until I'm very old. Like I'm not able to race in my prime because of finances right now, but I want to race until, like, this is what I love to do. And you see sometimes in IMSA, you see pro-am drivers or like celebrity drivers who are older drivers who are like, this guy just owns his dentistry and he just loves to race and he's racing. He's not really a professional driver, but he's on a pro team. because he can afford to pay for the ride.
Right.
And if you can pay for the ride, you could race as long as you want. Nobody can tell you can't race if you got the money. And that's just what I hope to be to a point where I can be able to race as much as I want. That's, I guess,
there's
the
no better
life goal.
feeling. There's no better feeling than being on a gate or on a grid or next to like 7 other guys on a BMX bike on the gate. When you're on that gate, that feeling of adrenaline. And
it's just, I think it's like a meditation for me, because my mind, I got this monkey mind, they call it, a meditation, where it's just all going crazy and there's all these thoughts running at you. And there's just nothing else for me that can quiet my mind like racing and just being in the zone where if you screw up, you could potentially die. Like this is really important. You have nothing else to focus on. Don't get injured and go as fast as possible and don't break the laws of physics.
That whole mindset of knowing you are prepared for that battle. I miss that. I miss that, not having the doubt.
Well, even when like there's some doubt, like when I had my new Triumph, I don't know this bike. I haven't raced this before. What's it going to feel like in the corners? How are the tires going to feel with this bike's power delivery? You learn a lot when you race, because it's not a track day. You are pushing your hardest. And totally really quickly, I think in one of the one video I have of me on the Solo 20 from that weekend on the Triumph, I think is up there, and you can see me like in the S's pushing the front and like almost crashing, because I was pushing things and I was trying new stuff, and you feel different tire wear, and you learn really quickly what to do and what not to do.
Right. It's good. I miss it, but like I said, I don't miss getting hurt, and I've been hurt a lot. I remember when I was 16, I broke my clavicle racing BMX.
Yeah, tolerable.
So, it's there's in last time I got hurt, Heather goes, your number's up, you're gonna get hurt again. I go, thanks for the vote of confidence here.
Yeah,
but she's right, it's a part of racing, you're gonna get hurt.
It's gonna happen. For the longest time, until the last one that I had, I was a really good crasher, and I still think that I am. I just hit an object that last time. All of the other times I didn't break a bone. I crashed 11 times and not broken a bone. I did go to the hospital because I dislocated my thumb, but just to get my thumb reset. But other than that, I had walked away every single time, and without a single cut or abrasion or break until the last one.
Nice. That is nice.
So yes, there were some tumbles, there were some concussions in there. There's a lot of flip bikes, but for the most part, as long as you don't strike something at 100 miles an hour, you're probably going to be fine, or you're going to be beat up, or, there's a lot of bruising that happens, a lot of hematomas.
Right.
It's not always pretty.
Those concussions are nothing to laugh about either. I got knocked out back in '96, really, really bad. I was racing motocross. I got squeezed out in the front corner, and I landed on my head, corkscrewed my spine.
Ooh.
I remember the guy I went down to race with. They had me strapped to the board. They're taking me in the meat wagon to the hospital. I remember laying there, looking up, and my buddy's face comes over my face. I see him. I'm like, hey, is you all right? I go, yeah, I think. I don't know. He goes, hey, you pissed your pants, don't you? I go, thanks.
Thanks.
I seen him just a couple months ago. Do you remember that time when you crashed and you pissed your pants? Yeah, thanks. You got to bring that up every time.
I was just thinking about when they reset my thumb, they put me to sleep with some sort of laughing gas. I don't remember what it was. No, it was the stuff that they gave that Michael Jackson took before he died. Whatever that stuff was. That stuff he overdosed on, that's what they gave me. But I guess I came out of it, and Al Zahui and Amar were there in the hospital with me. And they said, man, you kept hitting on that nurse. I was like, I don't remember. I felt embarrassed, but I guess that's probably normal.
Yep, yeah. I'm sure it's probably not her first time, right?
Yeah, right. So, but yeah, there's some nurses who aren't so friendly. The one that I had when I was first injured in 2015, was telling me, oh, you should probably stop racing. You shouldn't race anymore. Like, it's too dangerous. Like that sends you off to the deep end, right? When you hear that.
It just makes you want to get back and do it more.
Oh yeah, you can't tell me what not to do.
I got hurt really bad in '89, where I had internal injuries, like my spleen and my kidney were messed up, and then my ribs and lung. But I got airlifted out of this town to another town for to get looked at another hospital, and I was in ICU for 3 days. And I remember my dad, after I got out of it and was getting better, he goes, "So you still gonna race?" I go, "Yeah, Dad." I go, I had no doubt that I was not going to race. And I remember my brother and I went down to Howell to ride with my buddy down there, and it was the first time on my bike since that accident. I remember I was real nervous until I started my bike up. Started my bike up. It was like, bam, it's all back. Let's go.
Like, I remember how to do this. Yeah.
So yeah, it's in. I think there's something wrong with all the racers in the world. There's something wrong with their heads.
So here's a question for you. With virtual reality becoming better and better and better, do you think there'd be a time where a lot of people, like, this virtual simulator is fun for cars, but there isn't really something that exists virtually for motorcycles? But if there was, do you think more people would gravitate to that for the safety and the financial aspect of it?
I don't think so.
No?
No, because I don't think you can get that simulation, the feeling of going, that feeling of speed. You hit 100 miles an hour, there's nothing like it, you know that.
Yeah.
And then braking for a corner at 100 miles an hour. You're not gonna replicate that.
Yeah, it's very difficult unless you got some sort of IV drip with some chemicals of adrenaline coming in you, right? Some maybe smell-o-vision. You got to have smell-o-vision where you have the VP fuel scent in the cartridge, because that's a part of it too. You smell the guy's fuel ahead of him. You know what he's got in his bike.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, but yeah, man. So I still have like 7 or 8 orders I got to ship tonight. I got a few drop ships. I got an M4 to upload, some tracking information. Got to run to the post office, ship another couple, a few books. I think a DVD, some random stuff. So from Amazon and eBay. So, are there any? Yeah, are there any parting words you want to give to the world?
Let's see. Have fun. Motorcycles, pedal bikes, and two-wheel passion. What is it? Two wheels move the soul. What's that saying? Whatever.
Yeah.
Just have fun. That's my whole mantra. Just have fun. Even at work, I try not to take anything too serious. So.
Okay. Very good.
And love your suspension guy.
Yeah, that's just so important.
Yeah. I've had the CMP suspensions. He's been doing my bike since 2002, and I've had a lot of bikes. That's from motocross to vintage to my trail bikes he did, my dual sport, and my road race bikes.
Okay, yeah. And so he's one of your sponsors, one of the guys who's been helping you out for the past couple of years?
Yeah. He's a good friend, and he's just a great guy. So much knowledge. I used to always think that I knew my way around suspensions, because and just to be able to call a suspension guy up and say, "Hey, this is doing this. What should I do?" That kind of stuff. That's pretty valuable to me.
Oh yeah, it's so important. It turns your day from I can't ride this bike to, oh wow, that was great. I just did my fastest lap.
Right. I remember when I took this KTM out, I was calling up, and we finally got it dialed in, and I texted him. I go, "Man, I do not want to ride this. Do not want to stop riding this bike. It's just so much fun."
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. So.
For sure. And are you active on social media, online, anywhere? Where can people find you online?
I have Instagram and Facebook. It's Bob and Heather Sawicki. They're both connected, so everything. If you see me on Facebook, it's the same thing as on Instagram. So.
Sure. And how's Heather?
Heather is a saint. That's all I gotta say. You see my shop, so yeah, she's a good woman.
Very good. I was wondering if Heather was going to come on here. So
No, she don't come out in the shop too much. So
all
she's
right,
got the rest of the house. I got this place. So
very good. Is there anything else? Anything you want to ask me before we part ways?
no, man, I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm glad you're doing this. This is anything to get the word out. Just I'll give you an example. Guys like Carl Soltis or Dave Gray, especially Carl, because Carl's still Carl's like a cartoon character to me.
Damn
And
it,
he's
Carl.
so good. Or him or Dan Ortega. Those guys. My first race weekend, I raced with Dan Ortega, and I think Carl was in that race too. But Dan lapped me twice, and
Yeah.
he ended up crashing his guts out on that day. His bike was just demolished. And I remember at the end of the day, this is at Grattan. He brought his bike back and it was just messed up. And he walked away from his pits and sat in the grass and faced away from everybody for like an hour.
Yeah,
I'm
just
going,
demoralized.
It's just the expense of rebuilding his bikes and stuff. I'm going, man. But yeah. Anyways, with Carl, that would be you were talking about doing some kind of like a show or something, like a documentary or something about the races or something like that. Like what were you talking about? Like a show or something to.
Yeah. So my idea was to kind of film a Wera race, and so like, what if you had cameras in? I'm talking like super low budget. I'm going to do this in with a couple of my friends for like a trial of it and see where it goes, because my phone is almost a better camera than my actual podcast camera that I use. So
Isn't that crazy?
it's a 4K camera. This isn't even in 4K, and so like we have the technology and it's in my hand already. I have the cameras, maybe need a couple more here and there. But the point is to like film a race, super low budget, to at least get it out there, and then have a quick podium interview and then overlay commentary on top of it with maybe some simple graphics with race position, who's in the race, like nothing like MotoGP, all fancy, but just basic race position. Probably won't even have timing and scoring. I don't know what's capable yet. I don't know. But just
So
to be able.
were you going to do any kind of backstory on the person at all? Because like Carl's a pretty colorful person. And he does a lot.
So you could definitely go into like their backstory, go into their home or wherever they want to shoot, go to their local training ground, and yeah, you could totally do something like this. And guys like Gray Pham, videographers for Moto America, they're way better videographers than I am. I'm not a videographer, but I'm trying to be, I guess. It'd be cool to try to do this because there's very little to zero coverage of Wera or CCS or Astra or Moto Series or
Right.
any of these. There's no coverage.
Maybe that's what we need to get the sport to grow a little bit.
I think it could help. I know that this is not like a $1 million idea. Maybe it is. I'm not looking to make millions of dollars on this. I want to do it because it's something that I think would help. And it would have helped. It would have helped me 5 years ago to get sponsors, maybe, if I already had. Look at all my video footage from the past 5 years. I had nothing to show of video, so it's hard. It's just hard to get your name out there if you're a privateer like everybody is. I interviewed Bobby Fong, and he's not a factory rider, and he's at the top of America. So like if Bobby Fong isn't a factory rider, then nobody in America is a factory rider.
Right.
So that's just how it is. So it's just very difficult. But I really appreciate you coming on here,
Thank you.
Mr. Sawicki. And it's probably gonna take me a little while to get this one published because I already have 4 or 5 in the queue I haven't published yet. So it'll be a week or 2 or 3 probably. But maybe we could connect this weekend if when I go up north. I'll to send you a text or something, and I hope I'll have service up there, but see if we can maybe connect.
All right, man. It'd be great.
So
thank you very much.
Thanks again, and I'll talk to you very soon.
All right, see ya.
Have a good one. Hey, just a quick message. Please head over to my YouTube channel and follow on YouTube under EricSwanRacing.com podcast.